Our today's topic on Ethnobotany, Part First, a brief introduction. Ethnobotany as an interdisciplinary science is therefore in a position to contribute to development of the wealth of traditional knowledge of the indigenous people which concerning their natural system and environment, their knowledge on utilization and maintenance of plant resources on a long-term basis without damaging or destroying their habitats. Ethnobotanical data can be utilized by economic botanists also to discover new plant resources, to provide fresh ideas for environment planners as a tool for basic selection of plant species, for development of drugs by pharmacologists, phytochemists, and clinicians. As a new source of history through the study of plants, names by linguists, as a source for locating new germplasm for agriculturists also. Some works on ethnobotany performed only in last decade of 20th century. The surrounding environment directly or indirectly influence the human life and culture. The relation between humans and the plants. This are studied in the ethnobotany. Many living groups of peoples having diversified ethnic culture, history of rituals and performance who are more or less isolated from modern world and are closely associated with their ambient vegetation is the emporia of ethnobotanical research is the main major research area for this the ethnobotanical study. People variously depend on plants around them for many purposes like food, shelter, dyes, cosmetics, clothing, medicines, in which medicine is the point which is the most important. They classify the plants on the basis of their use, store the information and knowledge of plants use and these information and knowledge passed from one generation to another generation. The term ethnobotany was first coined by an American botanist, John Herzberger, in 1896 in an attempt to study the plants used by the primitive and aboriginal people. Since then, it has been defined as the traditional knowledge of indigenous communities about surrounding plants diversity and how various people make use of indigenous plants found in their localities. Of indigenous plants in the region for food, clothing, and medicine, plants are significant source of medicines that are used in the treatment of various categories of human disease. Historically, all medicinal preparations were derived from plants, whether in the simple form of the plant parts or in the more complex form of crude extracts like mixtures etc. Today, a substantial number of drugs are developed from plants which are active against number of diseases. The majority of these involve the isolation of active compounds found in a particular medicinal plant at its subsequent modification. In the developed country, 25% of the medical drugs are based on plants and their derivatives, and the use of medicinal plants is well known among the indigenous people in rural areas of the many developing countries. The importance of medicinal plants and the contribution of phytomedicine to the well-being of significant number of the world's population has attracted interest from a variety of disciplines around the world. Some methods for this purpose. The success of ethnobotanical documentation depend on the cooperative relationship between the researcher and local informants. It is very important to locate knowledgeable informants for the study of ethnobotany. Documentation has been made by taking random interviews of the herbalist, elderly men and women in field interview techniques. The informants accompany with the author and data has been collected in the field. The first part of ethnobotany, in which briefly we discuss the introduction of ethnobotany. In next part, we study some other aspects of ethnobotany. Thanks.